Hello, and welcome to the Art of Intuition podcast. I'm Susan Jane, and I'm your host for the podcast today. Have you ever had one of those moments when everything you thought you knew suddenly feels uncertain? Maybe it was a relationship breakdown, losing faith in a belief system, or realizing that rules you lived by don't feel true anymore. It's unsettling, like the ground beneath you is shifting. In this episode, we're going to talk about what happens when trust is broken and you're left questioning not just others, but your own thoughts and decisions. We'll explore why mental intuition, your natural ability to seek those patterns, truth, and meaning, can turn into mental overload, and how you can gently move from confusion back to clarity. So, if you've been stuck in overthinking, one of my issues, doubting your own judgment, another one of mine, or wondering what's real and what isn't, this episode will help you find tools to steady your mind and begin trusting yourself again. So, let's get started. Mm. There's a moment in every awakening when the ground beneath you seems to be shifting, crumbling, moving. What you once believed about life, people, institutions, maybe even about yourself, suddenly feels untrue. Or it could start with a relationship breaking down. That's when I really felt it. Or losing faith in something bigger, a religion, a workplace, even the world. Sometimes we can just get so overwhelmed by what's going on, especially after all the events of the pandemic. We can feel really quite all over the place. But when it comes to the mental spiral, it's when you start to that spiraling down when you go, oh, was I naive? How could I miss those signs? And if that wasn't true, what else isn't? You start to spiral down. If you found yourself in this place of mental fog, doubting what's real and unsure what to trust, you're not broken. And I've said this many times, we're not broken. You're in the middle of getting this mental clarity, getting this understanding of what's going on and how you're feeling and what you're seeing and what your beliefs are. And with the right tools, this space can become the beginning of your clarity. So why losing trust can lead to mental overload? Mental intuitives are deep thinkers. That's what we do. We seek a meaning. We look for patterns. We want to know the truth. Our brain is our superpower when it comes to the battleground. So when trust is shattered, especially in belief systems and those systems, the logic, your mind scrambles to restructure, to build that restructure. But instead of clarity, you get overthinking and indecision, questioning every past move, anxiety about choosing wrong again. I know that's how I get it. It's like, well, I did wrong last time. I don't want to do that again. And the urge to fact check your own intuition. So when you start getting these mental intuitive messages coming through, you start to double take on it. You start to question, was that just me? Well, like, how did that happen? So if that sounds familiar, um, it's not that you don't know the truth. It's you've trained yourself to doubt it. But we've got 3 steps to reclaim that mental clarity. And it's all about without needing the answers as well. So the first one is to return to what has always felt true, not just what you've been taught. So getting in that connection. The second one is to create mental boundaries with your thoughts. So stop letting them go crazy. Stop letting them go down rabbit warrens. And the third one is to trust the unfolding. Clarity comes in layers. So let's dig down on those a little bit. Number one, return to what has always felt true, not just what we've been taught. Now, one of the things I do say about religion is to me, it's the teaching, it's the theory, it's the understanding. Spirituality for me is the experience, it's the learning, it's the doing, that side of it. So I sort of look at them slightly different in that way. When we fall out, when outside beliefs fall apart, your inner truth still remains. So when things don't go quite right out there, our inner truth still remains. We are still connected in that way. So try this. Make a list of truths you've always known before you were challenged outside with outside influences. Um, One example is I've always felt deeply connected to nature. That's a truth. And I've always felt deeply connected to movement. I love walking every morning. That's one of my truths. Movement helps me. That's one of my truths. So if somebody said to me, "Oh no, you shouldn't do that," um, it would back up on my truth. It would be no. For me, that feels right for me. Um, I've always known when something feels off, even if others didn't agree. Now, that's a real big truth for me. I know when something doesn't feel right. Now, I don't always know what's wrong, but I know when something doesn't feel right. I'm like that with cooking, and I'm a terrible cook, but I know that there's something not right. It doesn't taste right, but I don't know what is wrong with it. I don't know what it needs. I don't know what it's lacking, but I know it doesn't quite hit the mark. So I'm good at finding those sort of areas. Another thing, I don't need a rule book to be a good person. People don't need to tell me what to do to be a good person. I know what it feels like to be a good person. And these are the truths that we need to reclaim. These are our compass points. Whatever those things are, they're your compass points. So making a list of truths, what you've always known, is really, really personal to you. And you need to sort of get that understanding and work out what that is. Because if somebody pushes against them, you don't, again, don't know how, need to know all the answers. You just need to know how you feel. And that will give you your mental clarity. You know, I often had it, even I'll go back into the pandemic because that was at such a mental mine, you know what, uh, for everybody. And there was things there that people were saying that, you know, don't get the jab, do get the jab, you know, don't do this, don't do that, do this, do this. And I found that that both sides of the equation were using fear tactics to get people to get on board. Now, the problem is you got to the stage where you just didn't listen to anybody. And I had to go back into myself and go, well, what feels right for me? Being forced to take a needle does not feel right for me. But in the same token, I understood my partner needed to take it because he needed to go to work. And so it's getting an understanding of all those areas there and what we're going through and what we're experiencing. We've got to make sure that we keep our truths, and I call that our moral compass. We've got to know what they are or have an understanding of them. We don't need to know why. We don't need to know the whole deal of it. Like I said, when something feels off, it feels off. We don't need to know what it is necessarily and go all the way through it. It just doesn't feel right. And I've often used that terminology. No, I don't know. It just doesn't feel right. It's not sitting well with me. I don't know why, but it's not sitting right. And I just sit with that. So one of the truths is if it doesn't feel right for me, then it doesn't feel right for me. And no one can change that unless I choose for it to be changed. So why it works is that clarity doesn't come from finding all the answers. It comes from standing on your own, believing in yourself. That's what we need to do. The second bit is create mental boundaries with your thoughts. Now, I love this because I am a rabbit warren. You know, when you start scrolling through Facebook or Instagram or something, you know, you just keep on going and you go down all these, you know, paths. You understand where you've been going when you come back the next day and you can see the algorithms, what they've fed you yesterday, they all pop up the next day. So we know we can see that we need to create these mental boundaries about our thoughts to stop us going down these ways. So not every thought deserves a deep dive. Not every question needs an immediate answer. And we've discussed that before. If we don't know the answer, we don't need to give an answer. We can say, pause, let me have a think about that. So try this. Use 3-question filter when you feel overwhelmed. So 3 questions, right? Is this thought mine? Is this urgent? Is this thought leading to clarity? Let's go back over them. Is this thought mine or one I have absorbed from somebody else? Okay. Is it mine or is it one I've absorbed from somebody else? Now, taking it from somebody else isn't such a bad thing if that's sitting right, because we will learn from other people and they will sit right. But this is what we've got to understand. Is that mine? Is it from someone else? If it is from someone else, am I happy to sit with that? Next part, is this urgent? Or can I come back to it later? Does it need to be running around in my head? What if I wrote it down and then come back to it later? Can I do that? And the third one, is this thought leading to clarity or just keeping me in the loop? Really, really important. Am I just going round and round in circles, round and round in circles? This is one of my areas at night. When you wake up halfway through the night and your head just goes round and round and round constantly. It drives me crazy. It really does. And this is where we sort of go, okay, is this thought mine? Is this thought urgent? Can I really get some sleep? Or is this thought leading to clarity? Because sometimes waking up in the middle of the night does lead to clarity. I've had lots of that happen, especially when you're getting downloads. But is it urgent enough? So those are the three areas there. Now, I've got an example written down too. So a visionary client. A visionary is what we class as a mental intuitive with more of the visionary side. A visionary client realized she was mentally spiraling every night to solve old family dynamics. I remember this lady, yes. And once she began to use this filter, she learned to say, this doesn't need to be solved right now, and her sleep and her peace returned. So this is where I was saying when we're going through these things, it does not need to be resolved right now. Gosh, how many times have I solved the problems of the world at 2 o'clock in the morning? Not good. But it does not need. It's not important at the moment. It can be done later. So put it to the side. Now, why this works is you are not your thoughts. You are the one observing. Oh God, I can't even say the word. Observing them. That's where your power is. Okay, the power is you can look at them. You're that third party. You can look at the thoughts and go, well, let's leave that one. We don't need that one. We'll leave that one till later. That's not urgent. You have the power to observe them. So try that. Now, the third one is trust the unfolding. Clarity comes in layers. So mental clarity rarely arrives as a lightning bolt. It comes in layers, a peeling back of the fog at dawn. Now, this made a lot of sense to me because there's times that when I get this mental clarity and I get this I don't class it as a lightning bolt, but it is like a lightning bolt in it's one section of it. You just get that one little section of it. And it doesn't sort of make a lot of sense all the time, or it doesn't, you're not really sure what to do with that. But later on, you get these other sections that come through. The only time I've had it, not the only time, one of the times I do really remember when I had this particular lightning bolt was when I was actually renting out my home and moving down to the Gold Coast to study at university, and I was 48 at the time. So I was moving, and my girlfriend then, she sort of said to me, oh, look, what happens if you don't get into university? And I just went, now, this is logical now, but I never thought this. This just came through as a lightning bolt. She goes, and I said, well, I'll just find some other way of getting in there. I'll do another course to get in there. So I'll do a course to get into uni. And I remember sitting back thinking, wow, where did that come from? Because I didn't think it. It came through like a lightning bolt. And that was probably the only time, but the majority of times I get them, I'll get these little bits of information and then other layers come through. So even creating the podcast, I created it and I ran it for 2 years and then stopped because I just wasn't getting what I needed out of it anymore. And then I've had times where I've gone, do I still pay for it to go? And rah, rah, rah. And then I'd get this information come through and I'd keep it going. And now I've got this other information. So even in the podcast, I'm getting these different layers coming through on what I want to do. So don't don't expect to miracles to come through in lightning bolts. It doesn't always happen that way. But little bits of information will come through in little bits of time. So they are like layers, and you do get these little aha moments. I could do that. And so I've created something in so with the book, there's an example with the book. I got all the downloads for the book over a period of like 2 years on how to do flower readings. And so I put it all together in a book. Now, when I put it all together in the book, I put everything I knew in it. This book was like a freaking encyclopedia. Everything was in it. Way too much, way too big. People didn't need to know that. It was ridiculous. So the first the first version of my book was just crazy. If you get one with a pink cover, it's a really good book for if you want to learn how to do it, but it's not a really good book to read because it's very, very detailed. The second version came out after I went through somebody and we got that through, so it's a better read. However, and I thought, well, I've all put all that time and effort into creating this book and it wasn't right. It wasn't until a bit later on when more layers came through, and it was like I needed to have all that information because now I have online courses on how to do flower readings. If I hadn't have got all that information, if I hadn't have done that book, I wouldn't have been able to create the courses as well as I have. So we get this information coming through in layers. So don't be too worried about all the information. Acknowledge it and then let it go if you need to. But try this. Journal once a week using a prompt. Okay. Here's two prompts here that I've written now. What's one thing I know for sure right now? There's your prompt. What's one thing I know for sure right now? And for me, I know I'm happy. I know I'm going to be busy in the next couple of weeks because we're buying a house, but I'm excited. One thing I know for sure right now, I'm excited. Then the next prompt is, what belief am I willing to release just for today? And one of the beliefs I have is that sometimes money can be a bit tight. I want to I want to release that belief today. And you can write these down. I want to release that belief. I want to release that belief just for today. And the thing is, it's like, well, I can't say next week because next week, that's when the house changes over. No, I don't need to. This is just for today. Bring it right back. Okay. Here's an example. So one visionary wrote, I know I'm allowed to change my mind. That's a belief for today. I know I'm allowed to change my mind. That single truth gave her the space to stop clinging to outdated beliefs and start creating her own. I know I'm allowed to change my mind. Nothing's set in concrete. And even if it is, things can knock concrete over. So I know I'm allowed to change my mind. Why this works? Truth isn't built by proving yourself right. It is built by allowing yourself to grow. Okay, allow yourself to grow. That's what it's all about. So you don't need to have everything all figured out. Okay, you don't need to know all the answers. You just need to know how to get from one point to the other. You just need to know that you can either pause, you've got your three little ideas here, so you can return to what has always felt true. You can create mental boundaries and go, well, I don't want to go down that path this particular day. I'll leave it to another day. And you can trust the unfolding. Know that these things are coming in waves, they come in layers. So you will get information today that might not make sense, but it will come through as you still take it, write it down, do something with it, but then let it go. Okay. Losing trust in what you once believed doesn't mean you failed. All right. It means you're being invited to think for yourself. If one of the big things is religion, and you believe in religion, and then something happens and it just doesn't sort of make sense. It's you start to question everything. It doesn't mean the religion has failed. It just means that there's areas in that it's not a one. book does all. It's not a one course does all. There's areas in there that are not resonating with you, and that's fine. You can think of how other areas will resonate with you, how you can look at that a little bit different. If you're not supposed to do this, how can you look at it a little bit differently that sits and resonates with you? So you haven't failed. You just means you're going to think a little bit differently or think for yourself. To question, not from fear, but from curiosity. Okay, so when I wrote these out, I'm thinking, what have I done? So when we're questioning something, do it out of curiosity. Don't do it out of fear. Okay, do it because I want to get the understanding of it. I want to know the answers to it. And to rebuild not on someone else's framework, but on your own foundation of truth. So when you're getting these understandings, rebuild your own foundation of truth. Okay? This is a gift of mental intuition, and your clarity is already waiting. Okay, this is what you've got. Your thought patterns and everything else are all about you and where it is. We need to use that for our best ability. And when you're a mental intuitive, it is sometimes hard to associate which ones are which, but it's about trusting yourself. Okay, about trusting yourself. Now, if you want to discover what your intuitive natures are, which I forgot to do at the beginning, you can go to the website intuitivenature.com.au. It's an Australian business, and do the free quiz on there. We all have our strongest type of way we receive our intuitive messages, our strongest intuitive nature. So we could be the visionary, the healer, the connector, or the creator. And this is the way we do it. We'll do physically. We can take on messages mentally, emotionally, and spiritually. But the reality is we take on all of them. It's just every now different areas of our life, different times, we will actually be stronger in one particular type. At the moment, for me, it's all about the visionary. It's all about mental intuition. That's what I'm bringing in, plus my spiritual one, because I do the readings as well. But even when I'm doing the readings, I still bring in all of them. I still do the physical side. Certainly bring in their emotions. I certainly have that mental thought patterns going on, and with the thought patterns, the mental intuitive starts to bring in the logic as well. So not 100% logic, but a bit of logic, because we still have to live in these bodies. We still have to live in this earth. So we still need to have logic in it as well. So that's important as well. So that is me for today. I hope you've enjoyed it. Again, jump on the quiz at intuitivenature.com.au, and we can sorry, no, sorry, pressing the buttons. And I'm still getting used to this recording. And I will see you next week. Okay, bye for now.